You've probably seen this piece of gear used in the production of your favorite films and television shows, and chances are you've probably wondered what it's called and what it's used for. This is the Clapperboard, and in today's video I'm going to show you what it's used for, how to use it yourself, and why you need one in your filmmaking toolkit. So, let's get going. Filmmaking can be hard or even complicated, but we don't do hard or complicated on this channel. So if you've got a passion for storytelling, but don't want to deal with complicated nonsense, then you've come to the right place. Because here, we're all about one thing: the art of filmmaking made simple. Welcome back to Valiant Visionaries Studios, the only place on YouTube where you can learn the art of filmmaking made simple. It has been far too long since my last video of Visionaries, so let's jump right into today's topic, the Clapperboard, aka the Slate. Before we get into that, however, if you want to learn the art of filmmaking made simple and you somehow stumbled across my channel, then welcome. I'm Mike, and I'm a filmmaker whose only purpose here is to teach you the art of filmmaking made simple. If that sounds like your thing, then go down below, click the subscribe button, and click that tiny little bell icon so that way you don't miss a video from the studio. Obligatory intro out of the way, let's get into today's topic, the Slate. Clapperboard, or Slate if you're on a Hollywood set, is a tool that is used by video editors in the post-production process to properly sync up the audio and the video. This is done by matching the audio wavelength spike recorded by the on-set microphones and matching them to the moment the two sticks of the clapperboard come together in the footage. By doing this, the audio and the video become perfectly in sync. Now, of course, there are a lot of auto-sync functions within a lot of video editing softwares, but sometimes the software doesn't do a totally great job, and it pays to know how to manually sync up your audio and your video. If you've seen any behind-the-scenes features, you've probably noticed that before they record a take, someone will run out and yell, "Quiet on set," or something similar, before calling the roll. This helps everyone get settled and ready for the real take, but it also helps the on-set mics have a nice, quiet environment so they can properly record the audio mark. Oh, and calling the roll is a really old protocol that makes sure no one gets into the shot that isn't supposed to be there and maintaining a nice, quiet environment. Calling the roll will look something like this. The AD will call out something like, "Pictures up." This tells everyone on set to be quiet and that the next call to action will be real and recorded. The AD will then call out some variation of "roll sound, roll camera." Someone in the sound department will yell back "speed." This is a holdover from when audio equipment used to take a few seconds to get up to the proper recording speed. Now sure, the tech is a lot better and we don't need to worry about that anymore, but we still use the term speed out of tradition. The camera operator will then call out "rolling." This lets everyone know that the camera is recording. The second EC will then slate the take, which means calling out the information written on the slate. The camera operator will then call out "camera set," meaning that everyone is ready for action. Then the director will call "action." Now that we've covered the main use of the slate, we can now talk about some of its secondary features and uses. One secondary feature of the slate is found on the sticks at the very top. It's these little stripes. These stripes set apart the slate from the background, and in a pinch, they can be used to help measure focal distances when doing something like focus pulling. In a pinch, those stripes can also be used to check white balance within the camera, but typically the camera department will have color check cards already on hand for this very purpose. Typically, the header ID contains information such as the name of the production, the name of the director, the name of the camera operator, whether the camera is using any filters, whether the scene takes place at day or night, whether the camera has any filters on it, the scene number, the camera roll, and other information. Some slates will have more or less information on them, but they all have the same basic information slots. Now let's break it down piece by piece. The roll number refers to which roll of film you're shooting on. If you're using digital media like an SD card, then you'd still call it a roll number. Rolls are typically numbered by using 3 numbers alongside a letter like this. You can also use the roll number for an audio roll or card, but when you do this, it's recommended to use a different letter than what's being used for the camera roll, so that way they don't get confused. It'll typically look like this. If you have multiple cameras, then you go down the list alphabetically, like so. Now, marking the scene number isn't too hard. It just uses letters and numbers. The letter lets you know which shot you're shooting, and the number lets you know which scene number from the script that you're shooting. Now, when you change something about the shot, like a camera position change, then you change the letter in the scene number to whatever comes next alphabetically. For example, let's say you're shooting scene number 95 from the script, and you're shooting shot A. You finished filming shot A, and you want to change the lighting or the camera position from shot A. And once you do that, you now have to change the shot to whatever comes next in the alphabet. So you would change from shot A to shot B. Keep in mind that the camera doesn't always need to change position in order to be counted as a new shot. Something like the lens filter could change and it will count as a totally new shot. You could also swap out a lens or change a shot from a static shot to a mobile shot, and it will count as a scene change, and you will need to mark the slate accordingly. That's the bulk of the slate and what needs to be marked. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll briefly cover it here. The production title is the name of the project that you're shooting, but sometimes the code name of a project can go here instead of its actual name. The name of the director is of course whoever is directing the film. Cam or camera is where you put the name of the camera operator or the director of photography for the project. Some slates have a section called FPS, or frames per second. This refers to the number of frames that the camera is shooting at the moment. You'd label this area if you're shooting at a frame rate different than the standard 24 frames per second. Day/night refers to the time of day in which your scene takes place, so just mark whichever is applicable. Lastly, marking sync means that you're recording audio separate from the picture. There might be a section called MOS, or mid-down sound, and you circle this when you're just recording footage and no audio. Now that we've covered the slate in depth, we can now talk about how to properly slate on your own projects. If you're on a professional set, the camera operator will tell you where to go in frame so that the slate will be in frame. When the camera and the sound are up to speed, you simply call the scene number and the take number, click the sticks together, and then get out of frame. And that is how you slate properly. And with that, we have come to the end of today's video. And if you learned a thing or two, go down below and nuke the like button. And if you want to learn the art of filmmaking made simple, then consider subscribing and clicking that little bell icon so that way you don't miss a new video from the studio. And if you feel so generous, go down below to the comment section and let me know what topic of filmmaking you want to see covered next. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the very next video, Visionaries. Stay curious and stay creative.